Do Souls games really need a difficulty setting? Ever since the Soulsborne titles emerged and the Souls-like subgenre took shape, this question has always been at the forefront of discussions. Basically, a segment of fans who don't enjoy being challenged by bosses as much as others have always requested this feature. And on paper, it seems like a fair request. Why shouldn't there be freedom of choice? Why shouldn't those who just want an easy mode be able to play it? But on the other side, fans of these games are strongly against it, and they have their reasons. For example, some argue that Souls games are a unique experience for unique players and were never meant to be universally appealing. Others claim that adding an easy mode will make the experience unequal for everyone, making discussions about the games much harder among players. Yet, throughout all this time, these debates didn't really matter, because the person making the decisions had a very clear stance on it.
Stripped of the grace of God and shadow death.
However, just recently, the liesofp DLC was released. This DLC was incredible, turning liesofp into one of the best games of my life. But it also brought with a controversial change. From the start, liesofp made great efforts towards accessibility to attract more players, introducing fantastic innovations in that regard. And ultimately, it added a difficulty setting to the game. This led some Steam users to do what Steam users do best: react negatively, and the debate reignited. Now is a perfect time to talk about it, because things aren't just theoretical or specialized anymore. We now have a game where this very feature has been implemented, and we can judge it better. Let me answer this question right at the beginning. No. For various reasons, we need to consider why were these games designed to be so difficult in the first place. It's all about the experience the developer wants the player to have. Game development works like that nowadays. They define what experience the player should gain, and all mechanisms are designed based on that. For instance, take Doom Eternal. The developers had a keyboard, jump and fight, and they envisioned the player as a combat jet. Every single mechanism, big or small, aimed to push the player towards that concept. Now, to the main point. In most cases, many of games' challenges and difficulties are designed precisely for this reason. Have you ever wondered why in a game like Resident Evil 7, your bullet count is always limited? Or let me give you an even better example. In Resident Evil 2 Remake, items needed to solve puzzles or even keys take up part of your inventory. This creates a constant feeling of scarcity, even if you might have ammunition stored in the item box. And if developers are smart, they can even use this for crafting specific difficult sections. In one part of that game, 3 inventory slots have to be taken up by puzzle items. So, the developer can account for this limited carryable ammo and create a stressful sequence. Another example is the original Resident Evil 3. In that game, crafting ammo requires a third item besides 2 gunpowder units. This means you either can't craft ammo anywhere except save rooms, or you're constantly forced to sacrifice an inventory slot. You see, challenges are always tools designed for us to gain the intended experience. Let's get back to our main discussion. In Souls games, enemies are designed so that even the weakest one can significantly trouble you with just one mistake. That's because you need to learn the game's mechanics. You need to learn these games aren't just about attacking. You have to guard, dodge, parry, and only then can you overcome the game's bosses. Personally, I see a lot of new players who just spam the attack button, and after dying a few times, they complain that the game is so hard. Let me talk more about the difficulties. Dying in these games is much scarier and more frustrating because this comes with a penalty and you might lose all your souls. But here's a question. If this penalty didn't exist, would exploring these games still be as stressful? If we could level up anywhere, would encountering shortcuts still be as exciting? All these elements that some people criticize are precisely the reasons why these games have that feeling that makes them so incredible. From a technical standpoint, a difficulty setting in these games could even ruin the entire economy design. Despite all these explanations, someone might say, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just want an easy mode. Well, let's take a look at Lies of P and its difficulty settings, and how they worked out. But first, if you've agreed with me so far, I'd be really happy if you liked the video. So, we have one difficulty setting called Legendary Stalker, which the game refers to as the normal difficulty we faced in the main game. There are two easier difficulty options. So far, they did things right. However, this difficulty setting doesn't work out terrifyingly well in the DLC. The DLC is practically unplayable on this mode, even though I entered it with the best build and an overpowered character. And also, I consider myself a pro player. But despite having difficulty setting, I can never complain about the game being unplayable, even though complaining about the difficulty of Souls games is foolish. The game practically tells you, hey, you're too much of a noob, and you just have to choose an easier difficulty. Consider this alongside all the points I mentioned above. One more crucial point we need to address. Nowadays, difficulty setting in games are often designed very superficially. Developers merely increase enemy damage and HP, while a truly easier or harder difficulty should involve precise differences. And the developer should have thought through every single aspect of it to ensure the player gets the intended experience. Unfortunately, this has become common today, and we rarely see games that have genuinely put effort into their difficulty levels. Different versions of Resident Evil have always been fantastic in this regard. Of course, I must say, given the sensitivity of this feature around Souls-like games, I expected it to be much better implemented. A Souls game should have a specific difficulty and challenges for all players so that developers can deliver the ultimate experience in the most optimal way possible. Overall, Souls games should always have these challenges to consistently deliver the intended feeling, and the option to choose brings other problems. Personally, I might love Lies of P more than all of you, and the features the developers added from the beginning to help more players connect with the game were fantastic. Even the addition in the DLC were highly commendable, but the difficulty setting is something Souls games will never need. And that brings us to the end of our discussion. If you've watched this far, first of all, thank you very much. And if you're willing, please help this video reach more people by liking it. If you have any thoughts, I'd be happy if you share them with me in the comments. And also, a while ago, I made a video comparing the level design of Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. If you're interested, you can check that one out too. See you next time.